Did you know the UN was once called a weird Picasso abstraction? It's a 193 nation experiment where everyone is supposed to be equal, but a handful of great powers actually hold all the cards. Is it a global savior or just a theater for superpower games? The UN's most powerful wing, the Security Council, is literally stuck in a time capsule. Five countries, the US, Russia, China, the UK, and France, have veto power, meaning they can unilaterally kill any major decision. The structure completely ignores modern giants like India, Brazil, and Germany and provides zero permanent seats for Africa or Latin America. To change the rules, you need the five powers to agree. But why would they want to give up their own power? The UN was built for collective security, but it was quickly paralyzed by ideological war. Between 1946 and 1955, the Soviet Union used its veto 82 times, effectively neutering the organization before it could even get started. Because the big powers were so paranoid, they never let the UN have its own military. To this day, the UN has to subcontract its muscle to group like NATO. UN peacekeeping is a haunting mix of miracles and nightmares. In 1994, UN peacekeepers were forced to be spectators to the Rwandan genocide. A year later, mass murder happened right inside the UN protected safe area in Srebrenica. Despite these failures, missions in places like El Salvador, Mozambique, and East Timor actually worked, bringing democracy to war-torn nations. Is the UN really neutral? Different thinkers say no. Critics argue it's a tool for global capitalism, using the World Bank and IMF to keep the global south in debt bondage. Feminist scholars point out that the UN's version of security is built on old school masculinist power moves rather than everyday human safety. With over 100,000 personnel and $6.5 billion budget, the UN is the only global house we have. It's messy, it's dramatic, and it's often broken, but is a world with a Picasso abstraction better than a world with no rules at all. Thank you.